welcome everyone in this panel discussion, which is going to display through it the communication for development, enhancing participation and creating the impact. We're going to move today to discover the dimensions of the communication on a different level for all the international levels. That the communication is not only a proactive method that can inspire and direct the entities and the in an era that we can have the knowledge and we can share the knowledge differently. We can ask about how we can transform the communication as a pillar or a pivotal pillar to enhance the development, and it can create a sustainable impact. Through this session, we are going to display all the means of enablement for all the communities, and especially if it is going to be promoting the sustainable development around the world. To tackle this topic, please welcome with me with Mrs. Khadija Al-Kindi, the Director of the Communication Entity in the UNICEF in Oman Sultanate, and also Mr. Sayyid Ibrahim Aslam from the Islamic Bank for Development, and also Mr. Reem Abu Khayal from Al Walid Charitable Organization. Let me in the beginning ask Mrs. Khadija. We always hear about the traditional means of media. What is the difference between the communication for development, and what are the dimensions of development for communication for development? Peace be upon you all. And I would like to thank Mrs. Randa. Peace be upon you all. I'm honored to be among you today in this forum and this panel discussion in specific for the concept of communication for development is a strategic approach that aims to foster the societal dimension and the sustainable behavior through the social media platforms that we all use today, or the traditional media, and or through the societal dialogue, and how we can create, how we can engage the society in communication. So around the world, speaking about the development communication, or the communication for development, we have the strategic communication for the behavioral change, and we aim here at UNICEF and depend on the interpretation of the ecology of the socio-ecological model, and also we depend on not only communicating with the society in the case of communication for development, but we look into other dimensions, which is the societal dimension, and also the political dimension in the country, and also the audience, or the targeted audience, and also the level of service, whether the service is being presented in these countries, whether it is developed or underdeveloped, and also after that the personal dimension that for example, it might be difficult. It might be the most difficult dimension here if we can communicate for the development with the societies. So also UNICEF has worked on different countries around the world, whether the countries which is on a high level of income, or medium or low income countries, and also we have communicated with the government in these countries, and also we've built the strategies for the communication for development. And of course, we here speak about it's different from the traditional method of communication that through the different media of communication. Thank you, Mrs. Khadija. It is very good to understand the difference between the traditional communication and the communication for development, and it's two different channels, but they are integrative, and when they integrate, the impact would double and would affect properly and efficiently. Speaking about the methodology and the development, we would like to hear from Mr. Ibrahim about the methodologies and thank you, Mrs. Sarah. And first of all, I would like to thank this initiative from the Saudi Bank for Development to also, I value the strategic communication and partnership between our bank and Saudi Bank for Development. So you have mentioned that communication for development plays a pivotal role, and it's different from any other mean and program of development. So I think it has got an accompanying role, and there we can find what we call the model and the shift. We have shifted from the traditional mean of communication to the mean for development. So it has been impacted with the different specializations and as for example the societal science and also the psychosocietal science. So all these notions and concepts has got the concept of engagement between all the components, so that we can reach the definition of that we have agreed on. We should consider this path. We should consider as a path that we build upon and build on the evidences, whether behaviorally or societal also issue, and for example how we can find the positive impact on our lives, that we can define the notion correctly. So regarding the expertise, we are speaking about the engagement which gathers like four components. The first one is the communication for the behavior, and secondly support, fourthly is fostering the capabilities and building the capabilities. So it gives a great impact for all the societies and for the people as well. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. As he mentioned, Mr. Ibrahim, one of the most important pillars for the development is building the capabilities and also the enablement of societies and communities. So from your perspective, how can the communication facilitate the enablement for the societies and also the efforts of sustainable development? Thank you so much for the opportunities. Thank you for the Saudi Bank for Development to allowing me to be among you today, and for the opportunity. I think the importance of communication, or the development communication, lies in the people who are benefiting from the partnership, and which makes them one of the most important pillars of the project, which enables the beneficiaries to have the needs or the primary needs and also following the project. So I think the strategies and the communication is different from the other strategic or the communication strategies. So the development or the concept of the communication for development is related, or that's why it's very important to enable the beneficiaries for the proactive partnership. So it's very important to communicate with them and then have the need, and also deepens the impact for a long-term impact. So we can define what we call the theory of tens. So we have the inputs and outputs and whatsoever. So we are speaking about the long term and enablement, the beneficiaries. So the continuous impact and also built upon the needs is contributing in this topic and in this matter. And we have a successful experience between the Islamic Bank for Development, which gives uh, impacts or results about the project, what is the development. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. And this would take me to the second question, which is regarding the media campaigns and communication campaigns. We always hear about Al Walid charitable organization, which is with its campaigns and which touch the communities and society. So let us talk more about these campaigns and its sustainable impact on the long term for the future generations. May Allah bless you. Peace be upon you all. May Allah bless you. I'm pleased to be among you today. And please allow me, before I start, I'm going to give a background on the institution. Al Walid Charitable Organization started 40 years ago under his supervision of His Royal Highness Prince Walid bin Talal Al Saud, and it aims to the enablement for the women and kids and also the youth, and also bridging the gaps between the generations. So the charitable organization has done more than 1,000 projects around 190 countries, and this is all under his supervision under the Secretary General, Princess Amira bint Majid, and also focusing on the campaigns, how we can create a long-term impact, the positive impact, not only raising the awareness, but how we can guarantee you can change the behaviors and methodologies, and also finding sustainable solutions. So in the organization here, when we launch the campaigns, so we have to make sure that we are not only spreading the message, we're making sure that we creating the impact and the real impact. So how we can enable the special needs, and also we have provided them with a cause or special cause for the special needs that they can only ride with the driving wheel. So with this we did not focus on the challenges, but we focused on the project, how the project provided them with opportunities and also enhanced the lifestyle, and not only on this level but also that we want to inspire. So even the workshops, how a simple tool that doesn't cost can change the life of one person in a sustainable way. How do we inspire? And it's very important through the communication and the media, we can raise the awareness and inspire for the best benefit and the sustainable impact. Let me come back to Mrs. Khadija regarding what is the role of the communication or the development to achieve the sustainable impact. How do you see that? Thank you, Mrs. Randa. And the communication for development plays a great role. So as we call it's a methodology in UNICEF for childhood, and so the change for the behavioral change as well. So it plays a great role in a direct way or indirect way in achieving the aims and goals of the development, built upon a lot of programs. These programs deliver the information in a proactive way, and I think it contributes to in taking the decisions or the enlightened decisions for these programs. Of course, majority of the programs in the UNICEF, which is the programs of childhood and maternity, and also the health and care and nutrition, and also societal programs, it's all built on initiatives that contributes in the development of these governments or the countries that we work together with. And the most important impact is the strategic or sustainable impacts, and also the most important effect is the poverty and hunger, and reducing poverty and hunger, and education as well. So these are the targets and the objectives that we work for when we speak about the sustainability. Also regarding raising awareness campaigns and so as I've mentioned before, the political or the level of service providing or the self-assessment, how to raise awareness and the society through the initiatives, whether it's direct or indirect. Also, we have the goal or the 17th objective, which is the partnerships. As UNICEF worked a lot with the governments or the private sector or charitable organizations or the individuals in the society. So we foster the 17th goal. Thank you, Mrs. Khadija. Of course, I can say that the communication for development is very important to achieve the sustainable development. Of course, we believe in the importance of communication to foster the society roles and achieving the aims for and how to support the developed countries. On the past 5 decades, we have financed a lot of countries and different sectors, and which is Kiva, for example, and all the sectors, different sectors, and that supports the countries. Of course, we have reached more than 100 developed countries around the world. And speaking about the challenges, this is gonna shift us to the next question, which is gonna be directed to Sir Ibrahim, which is the opportunities and which faces the communication for development and other efforts. Thank you so much. As you've mentioned, the role of the communication for development is great to achieve the aims and goals of sustainable development. So the bank in his core interest is to put the light and add the positive impact on the lives of people and the public. So I think it's one of the most important opportunities to speak about the raising the raising the awareness and also the partnership with the groups and engage them. Also putting the defined priorities and the needs. Also the assessment and the following up. So this is the great change that we've done in this field. Also speaking, it's very important to know and understand that without this awareness and developed awareness, we will not achieve the result. So I think we are speaking about this is the experience as well. The expertise is a great opportunity, and today we are keen on raising the awareness regarding the profits. Speaking about the challenges, the first challenge is the evidences and the behavior. Because when we face the behavior, when we start a project or the development project, it's very important to have the given information. And if we've not having the studies or the academic studies, so it's all come back to the strategies and whatsoever. So I think also I have the other hindrance, which is when we speak about the communication after finalizing the project and making the study. We can think of that. It's very important that you should be accompanying the project and it should be engaging from the very first beginning. And the final stage is the awareness itself, because it's one of the objectives. So the objectives is engaging the communities, the groups, and also raising their awareness by their participation and proactive partnership in the level of on the level of communication for development. I would like to know your perspective, Mr. Abdullah. I also, what is your perspective on the challenges and the hindrances that faces the communication for development, especially in the African continent, and especially with the poor digital transformation there? Thank you for the question. And as you have mentioned before, there are a lot of challenges regarding the countries that's been beneficiaries for the, and especially those who are suffering from the low level of infrastructure. So I think we have the given countries and also the beneficiary. So dealing with that matter is a bit of tricky. So I think speaking about the digital infrastructure is going to be in hindrance, and speaking about the communication for development, we have to go back and reuse the old methods like radio, or also delivering the message for certain places. So I think we have to refer to they have to refer to other means on the side of beneficiaries as well, and also the partners, the partnerships as well. So I think on the upcoming 50 years, we've invested more than $13 billion, and this finance has got us revenues and generated revenues by more than 75%, $75 billion. So these are the results of the proactive communication. So I think that gives them the ability to participate, as Mr. Ibrahim has mentioned, to put the primary vision. And we have started by 2020 by 22 projects, and then after that we have put the opportunities to follow on the projects in under the shadow of Corona. So to develop this project, we started to use all the geographical information, and end of the thing, we used simple applications. So every now and then we have the pictures and the place and the development of the project. So if we've got another inventions, or for example, there was a committee called the graduates of the university, or so why don't we have a graduates for the communities, or the graduates of the universities that is being financed by the bank? So I think that this is related to the intervention. From here comes the importance of communication for development with the both partners, with the beneficiaries, with the stakeholders, to create a whole picture. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. And the challenges that faces the field work, especially the media field work, especially the development fund, I think we all facing the challenges, or the media challenges on the real ground, what you have been seeing in the news, which is being transformed and on the social media or the news channels. It doesn't come as easy as you can imagine. So I think we have the pandemics, we have Corona, we have other challenges, and also the storms and the floods and the storms, and also the geopolitical changes. So the fieldwork is not easy, and I would like to congratulate the workers in this field, because it's not an easy job, but raising the awareness is very important. We can raise and this is going to take me to the next question. We've spoken about the challenges. Mr. Abdullah talked about the field assessment from the engineers. How do we assess the impact on the level of countries? So the impact is very important because it is not only So it's not because of the digital interaction, but because of the real change on the real ground. So that's why we use means of measurement to measure the impact. That's why we can say, for example, the handicrafts and enablement of the handicrafts from the females, speaking about the traditional handicrafts. The project gives a training workshops and also gives the tools and the platforms to promote all the products on the local level or the international level. For example, the Four Seasons in the Mamlaka Kingdom Center. So all of it is being done by the handicrafts and the female handicrafts. It's on an international level. So they have got a special request, and it has been presented. So studying the impact here is important, not only for the success stories, but it can show that these handicrafts has got their products, and so we've saved the sustainable income. Thank you, Mrs. Reem. And of course, these such projects we need to see around the world, whether how do you measure the impact through the UNICEF organization? Measuring the impact and monitoring the evaluation, one of the most important pillars that we work on. So how we can develop each campaign. UNICEF also working nowadays to develop the mechanism of the behavioral vigilance under the platform. So they're working with the governments on working on the indexes or the community indexes, and its role is to monitor the mechanism of communication for development for the communities. One of the most important things I worked on personally on that project which in the Oman Sultanate, and I think we had the strategy on the positive bringing up and or the best practices in parenting. So we've worked on the Ministry of Health, and also through the work with the Ministry of Health we have been able to identify all the centers that we can meet the workers from mothers and fathers in the health sector, so we can have these capabilities and fostering it in the primary health care and also clusters, and also we have fostered their capabilities by the raising the communication in the healthcare or the primary healthcare clusters, also dealing with the how to help the parents raise the kids, and also engaging those with the special needs. So under each umbrella and under each program we have fostered the caterers, and also we have done great work with the Ministry of Health, and also has got great indexes that helps people to monitor the impact of change on the Omani society and communities. And after that, after we have fostered the capabilities in more than 11 districts in the Sultanate, after that we have put the institutions and after the whole year of doing this program, so we have monitored more than 4,000. So we have advised them to be visiting the Ministry of Health in these matters. Also, the UNICEF is working directly with the governments to put the institutions or for the institutional evaluation to make sure that there is an sustainable impact as a tool of or a continuous tool of measurement, and also the program of fostering the capabilities and building the capabilities. May Allah bless you, Mrs. Khadija, and of course, thank you for the enriching and insightful information. If we are going to work in the media sector, we have to measure the impact, whether the information is going to reach the beneficiaries and how it would be. And this is what we are working on the development, the Saudi Development Fund, and thankfully we were able to gather more than 95 strategy, as it has been mentioned by our speakers, dear speakers today. There are challenges, so moving the information through the gatherings and whatsoever, it's a word of mouth, and there are other communities and engagements that can listen to the information through the radio. They don't have social media platforms or internet or whatsoever. So I think it's very important when you put the strategy or the media strategy, you have to understand the targeted audience and what are the tools that can deliver the information for this country. And this takes us here to the next question. To Mr. Abdullah, what are the tools for Badia to enable the societies? I think Badia was proceeding in with the group, Al Arabi group, to find the tools or the tools with the beneficiaries, taking in consideration the communication between the Arab world, especially developing bridge or the Arab African Trail bridge, and it's a platform that allows the both continents to know each other well, and also the opportunities in investment opportunities, and also put the vision or a clear picture for also following up the strategy implementation. And another point here I've mentioned before, which is the geographical information that contributed to the partnership and fostering the partnership and the engagement, and also the very important challenge, which is the impact or measuring the impact and impact evaluation. But the sustainable evaluation measurement needs a lot of knowledge between the barriers or the cultural barriers, and also giving the chance for the beneficiaries to be a proactive party in the project. So I think the bank has put a clear picture or a vision for the platform with Al Arabi development that allowed us to put the data or since 1973 on the past 52 years. So I think also we've got how to connect the information with the beneficiary. Also the African countries with their finance and so the beneficiaries are the only the. So I think it's important to foster their efforts. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. And they told me that we only have 5 minutes. So we want to summarize the points, and we are running out of time. So I want to benefit from the answers for the questions. What are the communication means of communication, or the means of communication that's available in the bank? We have 4 pillars that we can mention it quickly or in summary, which showcase the importance of the engagement, which is shifting between the message to the dialogue. So whether than the message should be from up to down, and also there was no engagement between the groups, and it's changing. So though the bank, the Islamic Bank for Development, understand this very well, and they takes in consideration their strategies. And so also the other side, from the individual to the groups, so how we can have the behaviors of the individuals as a group. Also, there was a important shift between the hindrance or the challenges, and how we engage the more than focusing on the more focusing than the families and the problems. So also we can shift from the solutions to, and from the also the givers, and also taking it to the other groups. Also the bank, for all the projects, its projects, we have 57. Also, we have the Muslim communities as well, and the non-members countries. It gives great importance for the communication for development. And thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. And the question, and the final question here, is Mrs. Reem. What is the importance of the partnership, and especially in the field of communication? We have I always use this idiom, because one hand doesn't clap. So I think the partnership is the base of so we have worked with a lot of entities, and one of them is UNICEF, the UNICEF, and so that's why we unify the efforts that we can foster the impact. We have a lot of campaigns we have done with the UNICEF, and one of them, and the most successful of them, is the visit of the General Secretary for the field for Laos. So I think the campaign itself focusing on a lot of factors. These vaccines, how it did reach the, which has been focused by Mrs. Khadija. Mrs. Khadija's focus on that. So the community itself should understand the vaccination is for what reason, and the other side is unifying the partnerships, which has been under one umbrella, and also created a sustainable impact. Thank you, Mrs. Reem. And at the end of this enriching session, we have displayed and showcased all the depth of the impact of the communication for development, and what's the difference between the traditional means of media and the communication for development, and its impact on the societies, and the change of behaviors. I was with you, and I hopefully that this session would enrich the knowledge among in you, and we are looking forward to have you and be our partners in future. Thank you.